Hello everyone. Let's hope there's no weird background noises or anything today. I hope this is recording fluently. I'm as sick of the electronic harassment as you are listening, because it's happening to me, don't forget. Alright, why the current demonic demand tribute the system is good. Yes, very, very counterintuitive title, I guess, because any way you look at it, the current system is a negative economic nightmare. And it demands tribute. Did you notice that it demands tribute? That's a demonic energy, or a demonic facet, however you want to say it. So, what could be good about this negative economic nightmare? Well, I got to thinking about it, and I thought it must be here, now, and that's the important part, here and now, for a reason. You know, because there's an old Zen saying, or wherever it came from, Buddhist, Taoist, Taoist, I don't know, but that old saying, all is as it should be, all the time. So everything that's always happening, whenever it is happening, doesn't matter. It's always happening for reason and meaning, and it should be there as it and when it is there. And so I thought, okay, well then, along that line of logic, let's apply that, logic sticker to the system, and then look at it. And, I thought, well, okay, so why is the system here, and why is there any good things possibly connected to it? How can it be good? Because, there was a movement back in 2011, going into the final stages of the compressed revolution at the end of human history, just by the way, in the end here of human history, going into the eschatonal vortex 2012, right at the end, 1 year before the end, was a movement called the 1%. 1% movement, and that was all about people sort of realizing that, or we're all sort of in this conscious revolution. It had compressed, mirrored continuities of conscious realizations, and during this time we realized that in about 2011, I'm sure it was in 2011, it began the 1% movement, where we realized that 1% of the population of humans has 50% of the wealth. And we all know that, the Rothschild names, the Rockefeller names, all these now well-known names. And, just 10 years, 20 years ago, this was not such a widely known thing, because we've got the internet now, so even someone in the outback or someone in Africa or wherever they are can know this, So it was, the 99% movement. Maybe you remember it as that. We are the 99, or that's what it turned into, and it, that fizzled out the movement. But it was originally the 1% movement, where we realized that 1% of all the people have 50% of all the wealth. So now it's probably, what, 70% or something? I'm sure it's progressed in their favor. And this is like the energy of humanity being stuck. It's all about energy, because money represents energy, and that's why I'm never going to stop asking for donations, please, because I'm pumping out energy, and it's just nice to get something back. Not, oh, I'm demanding something back, I'm asking. So I'm even leaving it open-ended, but their system, they demand tribute, you see, and that's demonic, okay? So I can always ask, but I'm not demanding you donate, for instance, but they demand you donate to them. You must go to work, you must pay your taxes, you must donate, you see, your energy. And money acts as energy. So that's why I always ask for donations. This is a good time for a little advertisement break of my own. As site creator of consciousazine.net, the website you see there up the top left of the screen, do a food plant teaching video series, and this video series is on just the benefits of plants and how to use them. Basically food plants, not ornamental mentals, even though they can be the same thing. So if you donate $30 or more, I will shoot you a food plant teaching video. And if you check the food plant teaching video playlist, you'll see that I always used to go out in nature. I'll get back to those type of videos too, but at the moment I'm enjoying just the on-screen quick learning, just to keep it changing it up, so all the videos are a bit different over the years. Anyway, advertisement over. Okay, why the current demonic demand tribute the system is good. Let's get to that part. So why is it good? We've discussed why it's horrible. Some reasons, like, well, if there's a 1% and they've got half of the world's wealth, that must mean that the other 50% are not doing too well or impoverished. And their whole system is a scarcity-based system indeed. And scarcity in an abundant universe seems a little silly, or something else to me. Stupid. Because we've got an abundant universe. There's a whole planet made of diamond. So that can, there's a diamond ring for every girl in the world. You just don't have to worry, and you don't have to get Africans to kill over it. You see what I'm saying? And so this is the death industries, the demonic demand tribute, the only, no alternatives, the system. Now, in my system, for instance, I mentioned before, I don't demand tribute, I just ask. Okay, so there's just a quick, stark difference. If you can't figure out the rest, God help you. So now to the good part. So how's this good? Well, how is this negative economic nightmare good then, Ben? What's with your title, bro? Well, bro, what I reckon is that if you see that it's all going in an accretion to one family, for instance, and why wouldn't it? You'd have to majorly stuff up, or F up, if you were them to have your control wane, because you've got complete control. You own the media, because that's one of your friends. He's just one of your friends that you see at Bilderberg group or something. Rupert Murdoch. But you can see what I'm getting at. Once you have such total wealth, firstly, it's obvious that wealth corrupts, and you don't want money when you've got trillions of dollars or something like that. You don't care about money. It becomes a non-worrying aspect. It's there if you need it, whatever you need. You need a couple billion today, no problem. You can do whatever you want pretty much within the local paradigm. But yeah, you've got to understand what I mean by, you'd have to stuff up pretty majorly to destroy that much of a lead. It's like they're so far in the lead, so to speak, in that way, that you'd have to trip over and really break your leg, and break your other leg, and break your two arms, because we're way behind, so we're way under them, so to speak, like that. And I thought, well, how is any of this good? Well, I'm getting to it, because I'm just trying to take you through the whole realization, so you have less stupid comments, basically, because YouTube is filled with negative nastiness. So how's any of it good? Well, if you can see it accreting to one place, eventually That's got to topple but. And yeah, while I just said that they've got such a lead, it'd be hard to lose that lead, there's also another way you can see this, I realized, and that's like if you're so far on top of a pyramid, it's more shaky up the top. You're more exposed to the headwinds of the universe, which is really in control. And at some point you're very vulnerable in a way as well. And you know, I can just see that the main factor of why it's good is because it teaches us not to have this sort of system again, and a creative system like this, because we've gone through the pain, we've lived it now, we've lived all the pains, all the possible, you know, paths of craziness have been taken. Like, you've got the homeless person outside the corporate building, you know, all the epitomes have been reached. Do you see what I mean? We're at the end of it, and it began not with Rothschilds, but it began at the start of history. All these resonances began at the start of history, which was, what was, you know, the first sort of thing we note as the start of history was like Jericho's silo going up, and basically agriculture, right? Where it was a massive resonance, or large resonance cycle of the fall. The famous, you've heard this, people say it all the time, the fall. Well, that fall was away from nature, as in, you know, living amongst the trees more and eating more grubs and berries and you know, potatoes in the ground and catching some animals and so on. So it's come full circle, and you know, it's good because we now have a template for what doesn't work well or what does work well economically. So of course there's many good aspects to this, but my main point was just not to harp on forever. Really, is that, you know, when you come to the place we're at here, it's a going through the negative to get to the positive, and it's a pendulum swing here in duality. You know, you can see what doesn't work, so now we can create the amazingly good, and now we could never get to the amazingly adjective before the good. We could always create the good, but now we can create the great, awesome amazingness, you know, because not only do we have the language and understanding, the art and the capacity, but we have the technology, the spiritual understanding as well, you know, but we've now got the technology. You know, we've finally reached the place where the robots are coming, and that we can even enhance ourselves. You know, we've got people like Ray Kurzweil talking about we'll be able to breathe underwater for 15 minutes. I'm sure a lot of people are going to take up that offer, and there's many other superhuman-like end of history you know, notions coming into our species, and abilities coming into our species. So you've got to realize every Superman movie ever made, every, you know, comic book on someone with superpowers, whatever, that's all just from the collective consciousness and the collective mind, and that the golden age that we're said to be going into is a resonance, and it's a golden age resonance which has been with us from the start. So now we finally have the ability to all agree this system doesn't work. We can finally agree, and not only that, we can finally implement the golden age resonance of what will work.